Flake boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Art Changer Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're going to talk about selling your soul. And you know, on my page, we know when we talk about things, we don't talk about the actual left brain logical rational explanation for things. We go to the actual spiritual, actual frequency, energy, vibration of the actual thing that we're talking about. So we talk about where the actual things come from. As far as me and my soul group, we're not talking about what we know and how we logically understand it. No, we talk about where the shit actually came from in the first place before you as a human brain can even logically understand it in the first place. So that's what my page is about. So you know what I'm saying, when we want to talk about selling your soul, after you watch this video, you're gonna be, your third eye is gonna open and you're gonna actually realize how much pieces of your soul have been sold anyway. You may be a person right now watching this video talking about, oh, these people out here selling their soul for this, selling their soul for that, and you may be selling more of your soul than that motherfucker. So let's get that clear. So first of all, when we talking about selling your soul, let's break down some things. And I think part of my soul group know where I'm going with this. When we want to talk about what is the actual soul. The soul is within you. The soul is in you. Because we know the idea of you is what's outside of this realm. That was the idea of you. Then that was your frequency, right? Your spirit, your space, your frequency, right? The idea of you. Then your frequency had to go in something, aka yin. A yang had to go yin. Your outer had to go in. Your frequency had to go in something, in an illusion, a vibration. You see what I'm saying? A vibration in order for it to have motion, fluid. You know what I'm saying? Emotion, movement. You see what I'm saying? So the idea of you went into something. So we know what that came second. Since it came second, it's gonna revolve around seconds. It's gonna involve seconds, and ultimately seconds is time. That's when time start. Time start on seconds. You see what I'm saying? And with time comes experience, and with experience comes what you're experiencing. And how you know you are connected to your experiences, because if you could remember, or the experiences that you go through, it make you feel a certain way. Your emotional stance on things, right? It affect your inner, it affect your emotions, your emotional world, who you are. You see what I'm saying? So that's within you, what we can't see. So that all that is tied within you. So all that is tied to your soul. So that is part of your soul. So that ultimately is your soul. You're fluid. You know what I'm saying? You're yin. See what I'm saying? That's your soul. So if we know the soul is tied to your seconds, your time, your experience, then we know anything you pay attention to, that's what you experience. So if that's what you experience, that's what you're giving your experience to, because you are experiencing it. But if we know the experience is tied to your inner, and if the inner is tied to your fluid and your soul, then we know this is tied to your soul. So it's going to affect your soul. This is why when things affect you emotionally, it makes you cry. And when you cry, what comes out? Something fluid. This is why when you get hurt physically, what comes out? Something fluid. You see what I'm saying? So it's an emotional water pool. That's when we talk about the water in astrology. It deals with the emotions and the feelings. And emotions and the feelings deals with the inside. So that's what's tempering your soul. So now that we know what the soul is, it's within you. It's the idea in motion now. It's the frequency, the idea, the space, the spirit, the frequency in motion now, experiencing its idea of itself, experiencing, moving through it. And water and fluid, vibration and time and experience is the magic that us spiritual beings use in order to manifest realms of reality. So forms of fluid. So even when you're looking in water animals, You know what I'm saying? Like fish of the sea, and sharks and all water. Now you think from your perception of what they're living at, you think pity of them. And you think I will never be able to live in that perception. But they're living in fluid. They have gills. So the explanation I'm giving fluid, that lets you know the realm of reality of how they see it is how they choose to experience as a collective consciousness. So it may be nothing like how you see it. How you see it as just a water or ocean and just animals in it. They may see their world entirely different. And they're more highly, their senses is more higher than the average man that's consuming this air, because this air is intoxicated. Even though the water is intoxicated also, we know the water is still most powerful, so they're able to create illusions and fantasies and dreams of their world better than we can, because we're lacking the water aspect and getting more to left brain and getting more into air, which you're breathing into air, and getting more practical, which you're walking on earth and you're using your common sense. So we're losing the aspect of the fire and the water in this realm of reality. That's another video though. But when we want to talk about selling your soul, so we know, since we know the actual prospects of your soul, then what happens? What happens when you give your energy to something? Anytime you give your time to something, right? Anytime you give your now, here's a thin line right here, because look, the key word, receive. Now, the yin realm is the receiver. Your yang is the giver. Your yin is the receiver. What you externally consciously give off for other people to be consciously aware of is what you gave off. What you receive from the world and from what other people give off is what you receive in your inner world, to be able to process in your emotional world to see if you emotionalize with this feeling or not. Now, what happens here is anytime you give your inner, which your inner is supposed to be received. Anytime you give your inner to receive, anytime you give your receiving world to receive something, you're in a bad place. That's a negative charge. That's two charges. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting to the pinpoint first before we get to the actual rational, logical information of when we start to talk about selling your soul in general. We're talking about where shit come from in the first place. Ultimately, this is a negative charge, because we know you're supposed to give your actions and then you receive something. So anytime you give your sun sign to receive something, your sun is your yang, the sun is your actions. What people can consciously aware see from you, and what you can consciously externally put out, right? Now, that's what you put out, and then you're supposed to receive. So when the world works like that, that's a positive charge. So a lot of times you're not looking to receive something, so you're giving off. So this is where they're talking about help thy neighbor and stuff like that, because you're giving without looking to receive. You see what I'm saying? So if you do give your time and your energy, aka your soul, into something that's a part of your actions, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a good cause, because you're not looking to receive. And if the whole world worked like that, the give and receive battery charge would work effectively. But now we're in a realm of reality where people are giving their yin, which, like I said, the yin is your negative charge. When I'm saying positive and negative, we're not talking about good or bad, okay? Now when you're giving your negative charge to receive is the negative charge. To give is a positive charge. External, yang, to give, positive. Extrovert. Internal, introvert, receive, that's the negative charge. So when you give your yin, which is your time, your experience, your soul, your energy, when you give that to a program or realm of reality ran by intellectual being, which you're going to get them charged up, but when you give your inner self to something in order to receive, aka still dealing with the negative charge, receive, then what happens here is you're combining 2 negative charges with yourself. So you're not doing stuff out of the goodness of your heart anymore. You're doing stuff for something. And 9 times when you're doing something for something, it's something external. Something that you have no business in putting your energy into anyway, because that external thing got manifested from energy to matter to solid, from a being that came from their inner being that may not be, that materialistic thing may not be in a representation of your spirit. Your spirit may not even be needing to be around it. You see what I'm saying? But for an example, for what I'm saying, that's two negative charges. So now that we know that's two negative charges, now we know that's going to lead to negative attributes, not a balance. So when two negative charges come and lead to negative attributes, it goes down and more negative, which it could play out in attributes on a human vessel as worry, being tired, being exhausted, having no energy, because all your energy has been drained by what you just gave it to. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that when it comes to selling your soul, you're doing this to a point of degree every day. Now, like I said, by us living in a collective conscious, you have no choice. So you have to be very particular on what you're giving your soul to, because if you're giving your soul to the right causes, then you're going to receive the right benefits out of it. You see what I'm saying? But when you're giving your soul to the wrong causes, which 98% of the world is doing, I want to say 99, then that's what's going to actually happen. And that's going to be the world that we're actually seeing right now, bringing ourselves into more density. But not only bringing our physical, but bringing our soul and spirit into more density also. So, you know, it's going to be fucked up. Now, when the way I'm breaking down selling your soul, you're going to see how you sell your soul every day. When you get up and go to work, you're selling your soul. And when you get up, anytime you do something in return for something, anytime you give your inner, and how you know you're giving your inner? When you give me your time, your experience, your experiences in your life. You could be experiencing something you really supposed to do. You could be experiencing something your spirit truly supposed to be doing. But instead, you experiencing being in jail. You experiencing being at work. You experiencing taking orders. You experiencing under realms or realities of other people. You experiencing that shit. You giving your experiences to shit you're not supposed to. AKA, you giving your soul. You giving your seconds, your time, your life, your emotion, your movement, because all your motions and movements is within that program. And whatever intellectual being ruled that program, that's who's receiving the benefits from that shit. Your battery charges is giving them energy. Don't you understand that? And when I say intellectual beings, I mean the beings that's processors over this world, who may be a little bit more enlightened than you, or a little bit less density beings that's hovering over us, that's less physical, so they come to us in situations and circumstances and through other people and through other vessels. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand. You have to understand this shit. When you're selling your soul, you're going to be selling your soul because you're in this realm of reality. Let me give you a little thing about Earth. Earth, there's a lot of things on Earth that attract certain beings. By you being on Earth, you are already naive to the fact of the benefits that you are by living on Earth. You know why? For the sake of fact that we cutting down trees every day. For the sake of fact of the things that we doing, the natural resources, we taking advantage of it every day. You know what I'm saying? And it play out in characteristics of people and astrologers don't even apply the energy of Earth in the planetary alignment. And things of that nature. They just act naive to the part of Earth because they live on Earth. You see mankind act naive to the point of they think they the only life on Earth. You see mankind in religion play this out in ways of they think that the whole God created the whole world revolved around the Earth. You see how it plays out in so many ways of how mankind just is naive to Earth. And I'm here to enlighten y'all about that. You can't be naive to Earth. Earth holds a lot of natural resources and stuff like that you take sources and things of that nature that you take advantage of because you already live here. So you look to the point of it and don't really look at it. But it's beings here that look at the vessel you in as a necessary thing that they want to experience. You see what I'm saying? So Earth is an experience. So you may feel like in this physical vessel, I wish I wasn't here, or why am I here, and why I see things this way. But at some shape, form, or degree, your spirit wanted to experience the resources on this Earth. And it's experiencing it. Now, the way you may feel or conduct yourself about it based upon the five senses that your antennas are constructed with here, this is how you're going to receive the information. Just like how I was doing the sun video. You're not gonna the way you can't really understand the information you're receiving is because in this vessel you have five senses: touch, taste, smell, sense. So if the information you're receiving is from another source, 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be from the sources of these senses, of these five senses. So when you pick up this information, you have to dissect it and metaphorically perceive it in your life in ways that you could compare to these five senses. That's why I say when it starts to play out in your life, going through people, places, and things, that's when you're going to be able to pinpoint the information that you receive from another source. You're going to be able to relate it to how I relate to the senses in this reality of the information that you receive, so you could be able to understand it. You see what I'm saying? So anytime, so when you actually care for someone, look at it this way. When you actually care for someone, right? You actually care about them, right? You'll go out their way for them, for little, for nothing, without doing nothing, right? Because your soul into it. You're connected to it. You're connected to the experiences with this person. You feel, you vibrate with them. You see what I'm saying? And or you want to vibrate with them, because it could be a person taking advantage of you. But for the sake of the matter, you see what I'm saying? You're doing it out of the grace of your heart, out of the grace of your soul. You see what I'm saying? You got a good heart. You got a good soul. You see what I'm saying? So when you're doing things of that nature, you're using your actions, and you don't want nothing in return for your actions. So you get received benefits from the universe. You're not looking for a received benefit from something external, whether it's a person, place, or thing. The action that you're putting your soul into and you don't want to benefit out, you're going to get the maximum receiving of it from the universe. And that's the way the energy works. But when you take that negative charge and replace it with something external, whether it's a person, place, or thing, to get back from it, you're selling your soul to something. You're not giving your soul to the universe or to the natural spirit or to God. You're giving your soul to something that you can see, that's external, that's in front of you. You're not giving your soul to yourself. You're not leaving your receiving mechanisms inside in the receiving energy. You're giving your receiving energy to something external or to the positive charge. And you're letting someone else being able to receive your inside, and they could positively use it for whatever they want to use it for, whether it's against your nature or not. This is where you get people who are able to get manipulated, who are able to get used. Because they're not emotionally strong. They're not emotionally conducted with themselves. They don't have a strong soul. Their soul probably always down, or always in a negative nature, or always into density, or they always replace their soul into physical mechanisms and replace their experiences into So when you come with a positively charged come around a positively charged person, yeah, they can take all the negative charges from you and utilize it for all the positive energy they want to. You see how energies can bounce? You could take positive energy, revert it to negative. You take negative energy, revert it to positive. But the more you know how to balance the two, the more enlightened and higher frequencies you'll be on than the people you are around. So like I said, next time when I say this, selling your soul, next time you need to look in the mirror and be like, am I selling my soul? And the question is going to be, yeah. Now the next question is going to be, am I selling my soul to the right mechanism or the right beings out here? You see what I'm saying? And then once you get into them questions, yeah, it's going to be a hard motherfucking look in the mirror. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're getting a pretty buck for your goddamn soul. And depending on how high frequency that your soul is vibrating, make sure you manifesting a pretty buck for that motherfucking shit. Because you came on this earth to experience shit like that. You wouldn't even be able to do that without a physical vessel. And you wouldn't even be able to have a physical vessel without this snake pit realm called Earth. And you wouldn't even be able to be in the Earth if Earth wasn't a female, which is yin, which is being in a womb. And she wouldn't even be in something if she wasn't even in mankind, which is a solar system. And the solar system wouldn't be flying around as a being, having a space within a space, if it ain't know nothing about no motherfucking God. Flight boss, bitch. Here.